Hello, welcome to Rapid Fire Marketing on LinkedIn Live. The focus is online digital marketing. I'm Moreno, your host. The theme of this event is helping entrepreneurs increase their online visibility, exposure, and influence. Helping you grow sales through live online events, also known as webinars, and video marketing. It is not the best product or service that wins. It's the one with the best marketing, because money follows attention. Here, the topics of interest are all topics related to achieving success in life, with a bend towards business. The format is Q&A and interactive. You are encouraged to ask your questions through the chat. At the end, there is a free giveaway for you. Your co-host is Deborah Reynolds, the founder and president of About Face Image Consulting. Hello and welcome to Rapid Fire Marketing on LinkedIn Live. I'm Moreno, your host. Our co-host today is Deborah Reynolds, also known as the Now to Wow Diva. Deborah is the founder and president of About Face Image Consulting. Debbie, today you have a most interesting topic for discussion. What it takes to stand out and get noticed, known, and remembered for all the right reasons. I'm sure many of us do all that for the wrong reasons too. Your motto is a good way to get us going. It is time to change, renew, empower, and transform. Let's get right into the program with 5 attention-grabbing questions for you. A reminder to our viewers to use the chat to text us your comments and questions. Debbie, I am curious about your answer to the first question.
Tell us, what question do you have for us?
Let me put that up. Debbie, what are the 9 keys to get noticed, known, and remembered?
Thank you for that, Marino. Very happy to be here again. So the first thing that we need to be remembered for, basically the key to getting noticed, known, and remembered, is to define your image. And that essentially is who you are as an individual. So let's define what the actual word means, the image, what that word means. It means the concept or the opinion of something, the character that we project to the public. It actually is can be defined as a mental picture or a vivid representation. It's an expressive or an evocative representation. So the origin of the word image actually comes from I am. It means I am, and it is defining clearly who you are as a person. So it's actually when you're declaring out loud, I am awesome, I am brilliant, I am talented, I'm creative. These are things that are really important. It's how you actually define yourself. So that's the very first the first part of being noticed, known, and remembered. It's the very first part of developing a brand that you want to express to the public in terms of the products or services that you offer, who you are as a person, or your company brand as well. It's who are you? What is it that you do? What do you represent, and what's important to you? So the second element to that is being aware of first impressions. And people get caught up on the whole concept of the idea of, is it important to create the first impression? Is it the most important thing? What do we need to do there? And I think we get carried away with that concept of first impression. You have to be aware of it, and you want to create a good first impression. But I have a quote that I'm known for in the industry: is it's important to create a good first impression, but it is essential to create a great lasting impression. So the first impressions, we can actually be wrong 98% of the time. So we want to pay attention to the first impressions, but we want to move beyond that. So when we're getting to know somebody and developing relationships, we want to kind of initially pay attention to the first impression, put it in the back of our mind, initially kind of ignore it, but move into developing a relationship with people to go further to see whether we're right or we're wrong. So Where this became important is when I traveled throughout North America delivering seminars and workshops. I was gone 2 weeks out of every month for 6-7 years. But basically every hotel, every airport, kind of every restaurant where I struck up conversations with people, I would, before the conversation, I would look at the person, watch them for a period of time. In my mind, I would formulate an opinion or judgment intentionally to try to define who are they or where are they from and what do they do. And then I would engage in conversation to find out who they are. And what I found was about 98% of the time I was wrong. So those first impressions are wrong 98% of the time. And I had done this for that 6-7 year period continually. It was one of those things I wanted to study and pay attention to. So the third element is listening to your instincts. And this is very important. It's kind of different from that first impression. Again, you're formulating an opinion, and it's based on life experience. It's based on a lot of things that we know about ourselves and the environments that we've put ourselves into over the years, and the knowledge that we've gained, and our experience of engaging with other people. And what has it been like? Has it been good? Has it been bad? Has it been difficult, challenging? All those things come into play with developing our intuitive capabilities and our perceptiveness and our awareness of other people. So it is important to listen to your instincts. It's something that can actually be cultivated and developed over a period of time, but you really have to go internally to develop and understand what that might be. So the fourth element is cultivating a positive attitude. And that's the fourth principle that is the key to develop, getting you noticed, known, and remembered. That cultivating a positive attitude is actually part of mastering mental fitness. It is developing a part of the brain where you can self-command and move into the part of the brain where you can be more creative and very intentional about what it is that you want to do and activate that part of the brain. So it's not that negative part of the brain which sabotages you all the time, but it's moving into the positive part of the brain. And this is actually part of what I teach about this and develop people's mindset around this concept as part of my Mastering Mental Fitness program, which is an absolute key to have. I mean, this is something that I've been working on for years and really studying neuroscience and how the mind works. But it is a very important part of your image and your brand is your mindset and your capability to stay positive and to inspire and to motivate. That's critical. The fifth key is developing yourself. And we need to put a lot more time into the personal development as well as the professional development of the individual. So the personal development is like, what do I need to learn? And then how do I cultivate it? How can I shift my perspective and relate better to people? Because I believe that everything we acquire in life is with and through other people. So one of the most important abilities that we need to develop in ourselves is our capability to communicate and interact with other people, support, inspire, encourage. All those things become critical for success in life. The sixth key is guarding your reputation. And a lot of people overlook this one. It is a big part of when I work with clients, I deal with reputation management and how to protect that. And this stems from my background of having worked in law enforcement as a correctional officer in a federal penitentiary for men, and also as an immigration investigator, having worked with law enforcement agencies around the world, but tracking down foreign criminals. In learning all those skills of being intuitive, keeping a positive attitude, developing perspective and awareness of things, and then guarding the reputation is something that's really vital to protect your image, protect your brand. The reputation element can be repaired if it is damaged, and it takes a lot more time and energy to do that, to repair it. What you want to be able to do is foresee some of the potential things that could be happening that could affect your reputation and then offset those things. And that's when I'm working privately with clients. We actually help to address those things immediately to put into place so that they are constantly aware and moving and navigating through that. So it's anticipating problems, planning strategy around the thing, problems that are operational, but problems that are people oriented, because most of our problems do come from people. And the seventh key is respecting yourself and other people. And this is huge because this comes right down to, again, how we perceive ourselves. I am this type of person, whether we sabotage ourselves or not, but also understanding tolerance and boundaries. Because if we don't put into place boundaries in terms of how people deal with us and how we deal with other people, and we are too tolerant of certain situations and circumstances, we end up showing ourselves a lot less self-care and less self-respect. So it is about respecting yourself and other people. And that looks in a variety of different ways, depending on the circumstances and the environments that you're in. It'll look differently. The eighth key is establishing your professionalism and your expertise. What is it that you need to do to show up as a professional? Leadership is one in terms of the mindset capabilities, how you step into leadership and deal with challenging situations, how you exemplify expertise in a certain area, how do you develop the expertise? And then the professionalism is also externally expressed in the way that you conduct yourself, your habits and your behaviors, your grooming, your physical grooming, and how you show up. But remember that the inside mindset and the physical grooming need to come together so that they're congruent, because you can dress professionally, but if you don't have all the other elements that come into place with the real character and the values and the mindset piece, you're not going to be considered genuine. You're not going to be considered authentic. And what we find is that the lasting exterior physical grooming is not going to last. It'll actually fade away and disappear over time. The ninth key is nurturing strong relationships. And this is about really using leverage in the business world, in the environments that you're in. How do you leverage the talents and gifts of other people around you and develop relationships with strong-minded individuals that could support you and encourage you and elevate you to the next level? So those strong relationships become very important. At the same time, when we have difficult relationships, these can be used to develop certain skills, make us aware of what's not working within ourselves and what we need to develop to overcome the sabotage of other people and overcome the difficulties that we have with other people, so that we are standing in our own power. We're actually empowering ourselves as individuals. So part of developing strong relationships is trusting that what you need and what you want is available to you. I always talk about the 3-foot rule. It's kind of, now it's more difficult on Zoom, but it's the people that you're closest to have the answer. And I am not putting forth these principles as theory. I've practiced these principles and I understand them. So it's trusting that what you want and need is close to you, that 3-foot rule. It's because when I actually voice my needs and my concerns, when I speak up, it is often at the moment when that person that has the answer is right there to answer them. It's when I'm silent and I don't say anything, and then I wonder, how am I ever going to solve this problem? I do believe in those divine connections with people, that we could be close to people in our lives, or we simply bump into people accidentally, or we have these introductions made to us through networking. And suddenly we are more transparent about who we are and revealing what it is that we want and need. And they actually have the answers to this. And I have proven this over and over again. It's absolutely true. So it is also taking time to listen, to nurture those strong relationships. It's taking time to listen to the other people, asking really important, provoking questions to elicit some really great responses and opinions and points of view, and be curious. It's really critical that we listen and that we, ask a lot of questions, that we be super curious about other people and take a genuine interest in developing those strong relationships. So those are the 9 keys, Marino.
Debbie, you've just shared 9 very powerful points regarding how we appear, about our image. And one that I find most interesting is respect. I have here a Toastmasters coin, and it has 4. integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Very important.
Absolutely.
Then you talked about protecting the reputation. What comes to mind is prevention is better than cure when it comes to our health. And this applies to our image as well, that if we don't pay attention and we damage our image, as you say, yes, it can be fixed, corrected, but with great difficulty.
Absolutely. True. Do you have another question for me, Marino?
Yes, it's about focus. Let's see. Where do business owners, entrepreneurs need to focus to get noticed?
That's a good question. So as I said before, everything we acquire is with and through other people. The answers to what we want is through those connections. So I think what we need to do to get noticed, you need to focus on building those connections. And that essentially is what we would refer to as networking. So in the business world, one of the most important business assets is your email list. So it's really critical for you to focus on developing your email list and the connections that you have so that you have an ability to communicate with those people. So it's not just willy-nilly types of connections. It's the ones that can actually support you in your growth and development, but also it could be in areas where you have gifts and talents. You could support other people. So making the connections to support and develop other people. It's also getting into deeper conversations with people to understand. I touched on this before about the listening and paying attention, being curious. So we have to go beyond those first impressions, as I had mentioned, and get into these deeper conversations to understand problems and needs. And then we want to focus on solutions. So first is focus on the connections with people, focus on the deeper conversations, and then focus on the solutions is very important. Then we need to focus on finding the tribe. So there are often, what I hear in the business world is people are moving from networking group to networking group, and they haven't quite found their tribe. It could be two different types of tribes. The ideal client that we want to hang out with, where is our client hanging out? And then where's the tribe that we can actually develop joint venture relationships with and support and encourage each other and promote each other in the business world. So there would be two different types of tribes that we want to hang out with when we're networking and connecting with people. So we want to focus on finding those two specific tribes, and then focus on giving rather than taking. So this is about exercising great generosity when we're helping other people. And I think we want to go in and we want to make the sale happen, get the sale happening. But essentially what you want to be doing is being super generous and being giving. I think this is really more important than ever in the world that we're living in right now. There's been a lot of chaos over the last couple of years, and we want to focus on paying attention, listening, making the other person feel heard, and then being generous and supportive and encouraging. So those would be the areas that I would suggest people focus on. Do you have another question for me?
Definitely very good points, that we need to find the people through networking and to be genuinely interested in other people. Listen. And of course, before asking, always give in abundance.
True. Another question for me, Marino.
Yes. What do we need to do to get known?
Okay, so for the purposes of getting known, it is really critical that you know who you are first as a person. We can put our attention on getting to know other people, which is asking a lot of questions. But if we want to get known as individuals, you have to really understand who you are as a person. And a lot of people struggle with that. Sometimes they haven't really done the work to really know who they are and what they stand for, what their values and their character is, and what's important to them and what they value and appreciate in life as well as in business. And also understanding how unique and special you are right now as you are. You don't have to be doing anything or accomplishing anything. It's you are unique and special as you are. Well, how do you pull that out? The other thing is that people need to clarify their why or their story. This often comes out in how we present or how we share, if we're talking as a speaker or trainer, if we're sharing a message in terms of marketing messages that we're sharing, really understanding why we're in business, why we're doing what we're doing, what's the story behind that we are sharing with other people, and what are the things that we bring to the table in terms of our own life experiences that enriches that process of the story. Because everybody has experiences in their life. They have tragedies, they have difficulties. Some of the stories for me is, I've had a father who had cancer, and caring for that. I had family members that I've had to care for. I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia 10 years ago. I'm healthy and well. It's the slowest form of cancer. I've never had any treatment or medication, and I've done everything naturally and maintained really good health and really good energy. We deal with all sorts of difficulties in life ongoing. None of us gets out of it. We don't escape that process. It happens. But all those experiences enrich our story and our why we're doing what we're doing. And we can shift. Sometimes we're doing certain things in business, and then we pivot and shift because certain things fall away. They're no longer important to us. We don't value them anymore. Instead, because of those experiences, we value other things in life. And therefore, we want to weave those into our story and the reasons why we're doing something else or continuing on with the ventures that we're doing or upscaling. So the why and the story actually contributes to the unique person that you are. And then it's bridging the why and the story to what you offer other people in terms of products and services. And then being willing to be visible. If you want to get known, you have to be visible. You have to get out there. You got to write articles. You have to form an opinion. You have to have a point of view, and you have to share that. And a lot of people are nervous about sharing a point of view and opinion because somebody else might shoot it down. That's part of the process. I mean, if you want to be known and you want to be visible, not everybody's going to agree with you. The key is that you have to have that courage inside of you, overcome that fear and develop that courage. And a lot of it is, it's not no longer fearing something. Often we're doing something while the fear is still there behind us, but we're just pushing it aside and pushing through it to move forward. But you have to be willing to be visible and to be heard and have a voice and have an opinion.
You make a very good point, Debbie, that we have to broadcast how interesting we are, what we have to offer. We need to show that we have value to offer. Oh, and we are happy to know that you are free of cancer. That is so important.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
What does it take to be remembered, Debbie?
Good question. Okay. We can choose to be remembered for all the right reasons, or we can choose to be remembered for all the wrong reasons. And in that choice process, that's more of an awareness element, because often we're doing things without thinking. And so we end up doing the wrong things out of desperation or not paying attention to the consequences or what kinds of results are going to happen. So it is important that we be more intentional about how we want to be remembered and move in the direction and ensure that it's for the right reasons and not the wrong reasons. We can focus on making other people feel good about themselves is a really key thing, a key element of being remembered. So that's a key thing to remember is what is it that we're saying or doing that could end up putting a smile on other people's faces or creating relief for other people. In other words, they're kind of going, oh, I get it. I get it. That's a great point of view, or that's really helpful. So because some people are so stressed and caught up in their challenges and their obstacles, they're needing their problems solved, but they're needing relief of some sort. So how can we create that relief for them? So it is about really, actually leaving the relationship better than it was before you actually met the person. So go in to develop that great relationship and the connection, be supportive and encouraging, and leave it better than what it actually was before you entered, so that you're leaving the relationship or the conversation where everybody's smiling and everybody's happy in the process. It is important that you have an opinion and that you use your voice. I had mentioned that. So you never want to bash other people. You want to make your point of, you want to make your point of view, but you don't want to make their point of view bad or wrong. You want to acknowledge that they have a point of view that could be different than yours. So it is important to say something like, what I appreciate about what you just said is, that's a great way to have as a segment to go into sharing your point of view, but just say, what I appreciate about what you just said is this. And then you can add something else that you want to say. It is really important that we choose to not be offended by what other people say and do, and that we not criticize what other people say and do. We cannot like those things, but if somebody is directly interacting with you in the moment as a potential customer or client, if you choose to be offended or you choose to criticize another person, that breaks down the relationship. So what it is hearing the other person and the point of view, but choosing not the judgment that comes out, but developing the relationship in a positive way. And of course, elements would also include speaking, teaching, being visible on video, like what we're doing right now on a LinkedIn Live, sharing great stories and valuable content with other people so that they can actually use the content. You want to share something that helps other people, maybe provokes thought, provokes action is probably the best thing. So you don't just want people to hear things, but you want to go, that's really interesting. I think I want to incorporate that into what it is that I'm doing, or I want to try that out in what it is that I'm doing.
One word that jumped out is doing. Doing something for others that will help them, that will leave them in a better place than they were before. And also, it's important that we have a thick skin, not to get upset when we hear negative things about us.
That developing that thick skin it can be done, and it's a strategy. But here's the thing: developing a thick skin to not be offended, but still keeping your heart open to develop a positive relationship. That is a gift in itself to try that, but to try that as a strategy. But it can actually be developed to do that.
Yes, one ingredient to a thick skin is having self-confidence. Then True. It doesn't matter what people say.
Yes.
The next question is a practical question, Debbie. Perhaps your call to action. If we want help to be more visible, to show up more powerfully, how can we get started? That is one of the most difficult tasks, to get started. Where do we begin?
The planning process is really important. So I think if you just sort of step away from what it is that you're doing and spend a little bit of time, planning is important. So this is about deciding about your target market and audience, where they hang out, what your products and services are, clarifying that. And this is about, how do you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, how do you want to contribute value? And even if you're an employee in an organization and you're in leadership, how do you contribute value to your organization? That is a really important question, because that value defines how you want to serve other people and what the products and services would really look like. And then how you're, each person that you're connecting with, that can define your audience or your target market. You want to create a plan around frequency and consistency. So if you're going to be out there and you're going to be visible and you want to be noticed, you've got to create a plan that's around consistency and frequency. So, and then practicing with video. So one of the best ways now is, of course, online, leveraging that, is practicing with video, practicing and crafting a powerful message. Daily visibility is really important. So you don't always have to be daily visible with a video, but you should be online sending messages or communicating with people, even in written format. People enjoy the written as well as sort of audio and video. A couple things I would love to share, which I know you're going to be posting, but signing up for my summit, which is called Mastering Your Visibility and Influence, Getting Noticed and Known to Reach Your Prosperity Potential. Mastering Your Visibility and Influence Summit. So it's currently going on right now until the middle of November. There is one speaker being released every morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. The email comes out. So the website for that is prosperitypotential.com, and I know you'll post it. So when you sign up for the summit, it's a free summit. You have an opportunity to upgrade to a paid version and get all the speakers and content for lifetime access for all the recordings. But if you're signing up today, what I want you to be aware of is the next email that comes out is going to be the one tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time or 10 a.m. Eastern time. And that will allow you to hear the next speaker that's going live. For more information, you can visit my website, deborahreynolds.com. That's my name, deborahreynolds.com. And you can also book an Explode Your Visibility session with me, which is a complimentary session where we can discover what it is that you're wanting to achieve and how we can go about doing that.
Debbie, I've posted those 2 links for you in the comments. So everyone, go check the links in the comments visit Debbie's very interesting, informative, valuable information. Debbie, I think we've come to the end of our session.
Thank you, Marino. It was a pleasure.
That was 30 minutes of abundant knowledge power. Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing your experience and ideas on what it takes to stand out and get noticed, known, and remembered for all the right reasons, not the wrong reasons.
Yes. Thank you, Marino. My pleasure.
We appreciate you taking the time to make this event interesting and informative, Debbie. To our attendees, a big thank you. Contact Deborah on the links provided for additional information. Direct message us. To your continued success and good health. Goodbye. Until we meet again next week, Thursday, 9 a.m.